Jacy Sheldon is that person. Well done. You're just recognized by it. The woman who mistreated Caitlin Clark. Your legacy is that. What occurs when a WNBA enforcer is requested to sign the rookie card of a rival? You get one of the season's most brutal autograph moments. Sophie Cunningham scribbles her signature on Jacy Sheldon's card and writes, "Property of Sophie Cunningham. She's the problem." Above it, this wasn't just shade. It was Sophie solidifying her position as the league's queen of subtle smack talk. Of course, Sophie Cunningham owned Jacy Sheldon from the same game that Marina Mayberry did the massive body slam into Caitlin Clark on. The fan yells it aloud, and everyone is stunned. But why does this tiny piece of cardboard feel like a massive dunk on Sheldon? There's no game scheduled, just a laid-back atmosphere at a Fever fan event on a Monday afternoon. There's no scoreboard, no film sessions, just players hanging out behind a table signing shirts, hats, and glossy photos. People are chatting, laughing, and taking pictures. It's the kind of crowd where nothing particularly dramatic is expected to happen, and then, right in the middle of it, a fan steps up holding something that's instantly. The fact that Sophie Cunningham signed a Jacy Sheldon rookie card with property of that kind is crazy. This isn't a generic WNBA item or a Fever jersey. It's a Jacy Sheldon rookie card. Now, take a moment to consider that Sheldon doesn't play for Indiana. She's not seated at the table, and she's a shooting guard. Sophie Cunningham poked fun at Caitlin Clark's new WNBA rivals by signing a Jacy Sheldon trading card with a rather humorous message written across the fans' collectible. There's just an unwritten thing about it. First of all, it's rare for any player to be asked to sign a rival's card. You don't see LeBron signing Steph Curry photos in the middle of practice facilities. During the event, a fan asked and was granted permission by Cunningham for the sixth-year sharpshooter to sign a Jacy Sheldon rookie card with the phrase, quote. Sophie Cunningham smirks and picks up the card, turning it in her hand. She is seated with Lexi Hull, who is already looking over Sophie's shoulder, locked in as if she can sense that something interesting is about to happen. This piece of cardboard carries weight before Sophie Cunningham even uncaps her pen. She still owns G and Jacy Sheldon, and what's even better is that she has a big rookie set of Jacy Sheldon cards. It's not just any Jacy Sheldon card either. It's one of those collectibles that instantly gets people talking because of her hype and that less-than-friendly rep she's picked up for being feisty and rough on the court. Fantastic sense of humor about it. She's also not shy about it. What are they going to do? Well, she actually performed the Steven Seagal Aikido hip flip. This is where it goes from strange to legendary. Sophie leans in and signs it, but she doesn't stop there. She writes something across the picture, not in a small corner, and it's large enough for anyone to see. As the fan looks down and sees the words, Sophie Cunningham just sits there above Sheldon's photo like it's an official stamp. In the video, you can hear them read it aloud, and then Lexi explodes. Teammate Lexi Hall sits next to her, and they both laugh at the fans' reference because the team has had a lot of meaningful, eventful meetings with Sheldon so far this season. Sophie is laughing with her teammates. Awkward. This isn't hesitation. It's confidence with a healthy dose of petty. From a distance, it might appear to be a harmless joke, but if you followed these two throughout the season, you know it wasn't. She's got the vibe right now. She's got the podcast in a really good one. There must be at least 3 or 4 positive things in every Sophie Cunningham podcast. The air had this unspoken. We know exactly what this means energy, and Sophie and Lexi's instantaneous reaction, as if they had been waiting for a chance to do this, tells you everything. The next podcast drop? News is slowing down. The thing is, this little pen swipe had roots. It wasn't just a spontaneous clapback and marker. For many fans, those 3 words were a direct reference to something that happened months ago between Sophie and Jackie. And that's where the fun starts. For the sake of the think piece, I would much rather it turned out that the property was not listed there when it happened. But yeah, it's all around a thing where it's kind of funny. Why would Sophie feel so at ease stamping her name across a rookie card of someone she doesn't even play with? The frustration between her and Jacy Sheldon came to the fore during an earlier regular season game between the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun. Of course, Sophie Cunningham would take her rightful place as the Indiana Fever enforcer later in the game, And I believe that was the first step toward her becoming the second most popular player in the WNBA. This wasn't just about a random trading card. It was more like punctuating a sentence she had started months earlier. Sheldon flying into plays, Sophie giving her that deadpan, "I'm not here for this" look, and then one moment that essentially put an asterisk on the game. When Sheldon gets flagged for a dangerous knee to the groin during a drive. We're all part of that game, which had much less friendly competition energy and much more elbows and stares. And you could feel it from the crowd tension. As a flagrant, the referees were spot on. Sophie was right in the middle, making sure her presence was felt as the game went coast to coast. And now we have another break as Jacy Sheldon goes straight after Sophie Cunningham. That's a flagrant foul, a hard foul, and you could say it's a play on the ball. Even Sheldon's first season in the league wasn't a quiet one. Her aggressive, sometimes reckless style has already gotten the league and fans talking. Cunningham is everywhere. Arby's walking in. She's the most attractive woman entering these WNBA arenas. It doesn't just go away in a rookie season. It sticks in everyone's memory, especially the people on the receiving end. I mean, Black Belt Barbie? Anyone? Black Belt Barbie. Should we put that on a t-shirt? Yeah, just wondering. She has blonde hair, you know. She's a black belt, and her hustle and hits are in the news almost as much as her points. I'm not exaggerating about that. Fans have been using that narrative. Sophie is the person you don't want to give a reason to remember you negatively. She is the unofficial enforcer of the fever, the player who will step up when it counts and ensure that no one pushes her teammates around without her knowledge. She will turn that into a fight club on the court, and I'm sure these players are aware of it. You might not want to do that, Sophie. This is hilarious. The best way to describe it is that Sophie is like the PR department's bodyguard, controlling the narrative after the buzzer and setting the tone physically. This is a rare combination in this league, which is why something like the property of line hits so much harder than it would from anyone else. Later in the game, Sophie Cunningham would naturally take her proper place. The fact that Sheldon has already been on the move more than most rookies, having been traded out, drafted 5th by Dallas, and already on her 3rd squad in roughly a year and a half is a fact that, as the Indiana Fever enforcer and, in my opinion, took the first step to her becoming the 2nd most popular player in the WNBA. This sense of instability is frequently made fun of online, and when Sophie writes property of on her card, you know, you were taken by Dallas, and you're now on your 3rd club in 18 months. God. Oh, they drafted her and said, "We missed on this one." Fans immediately tied that to the whole "you can get moved" narrative. If we swap her, can we receive a ham sandwich? Thus, when the autograph, it wasn't just funny, it clicked, and people immediately connected it to this petty, chippy, physical backstory. It felt like a punchline that had been developing for months, and it didn't even require context for everyone to find it hilarious. After fan accounts obtained that video, it took about 5 seconds for it to begin going viral. I firmly believe that Sophie Cunningham was just, it would be like, look, it would be so much funnier if that were the case. Asked to sign the card that it had nothing to do with, that the property of wasn't written there. How does one autograph go from a funny little throwaway moment at a fan event to basically owning the WNBA timeline for a full 24 hours? That's what happened here. The video wasn't from the official Fever account or some media crew. I wish I would get a print of her with JC and get her to sign it. But no, it all began on a fan account called Sophie Cunningham Central. And after that, it was like hitting refresh on your feed and seeing new versions of it everywhere. You know, the royalties aren't marketing his best work. It's Sheldon's card, and she gets paid. In just a few hours, it was on all the major WNBA fan pages, Discord chats, and even random meme accounts that don't usually deal with basketball. Almost immediately, people began discussing the one question that no one knew the answer to, and that was written by Sophie Cunningham. Was it a fan suggestion, or was that just pure Sophie freestyling with a Sharpie? There's no proof either way, which, to be honest, made it better. I don't think Sophie Cunningham is a dirty player because I don't think she goes. It stopped being about just an autograph and became its own mystery. I believe that Jacy Sheldon is on the go and is a completely reckless player. I believe that she frequently acts recklessly by over-hustling. Every frame of that video was analyzed like a game-winning shot, and people were slowing it down and attempting to read Sophie's face and check Lexi Hull's reaction to see if they knew it was coming. Reposts? Complete chaos. Laughing emojis everywhere. Memes about rival ownership, and I don't think anyone will be too upset about this. In fact, I believe that Sophie Cunningham wants the target on her back, which is an unpopular opinion. Some even dubbed Sophie the 2024 WNBA MVP of Shade. Fans began posting fake trade graphics, such as WNBA trade alert Jacy Sheldon to Sophie Cunningham, as if this were a legitimate transaction that required league approval. Others altered the rookie card so that the property looked printed into the design as if it had come directly from Panini or Topps. At this rate, she will be making ham sandwiches. And if she doesn't stop bawling out and quit getting. But beneath the jokes, there was more going on. Sophie didn't just sign and pass it back quietly. Instead, she did it in a way that cemented her place as one of the league's most entertaining personalities. She can score, of course, but she can also make a 3-second signing into a mini storyline, something that few players can do without feeling forced. God, I wish we had more teammates, or more Caitlin Clark teammates would get. Even analysts, who typically stick to talking about defensive rating or pick-and-roll efficiency, pointed to this as an example of why the WNBA's brand is growing. It's not just about the games, but moments like this that fans can latch onto. This erupted when their transcendent superstar, who is now injured, was the target of some of the other players who would get a little aggressive on behalf of Caitlin Clark. It was like a highlight reel without a single basket for fans who enjoy the petty, rivalries, and inside jokes. You can stream a game and get the competition, but then you open your phone and you get the culture. This particular instance had both. She doesn't want, teams to hate her, and she doesn't want to be hated among the league as a person. I believe she wants a competitive hatred between her and other players on opposing teams. And if you've watched her enough, you know that this isn't the peak. She has more moments like this in her, and she's going to top it sooner or later. If someone went to Anthony Edwards and tried to get a Kevin Durant card signed by him, I think he would have loved that. Sophie essentially turned a routine off-day event into the story that everyone was talking about with just one sentence in ink. In my opinion, it would have been hilarious for these players to have such an odd piece of memorabilia. Sophie Cunningham wasn't just being funny. She demonstrated how an athlete can take charge of their narrative without the need for a press conference or a game-winning shot. She combined personality and competition in a way that appeals to fans' most sensitive emotions. It stuck because of entertainment plus edge. This is just some good fun. Nothing more, nothing less. And based on what I've heard from everyone at All-Star Weekend, it seems like Jacy Sheldon is the nicest person ever. According to what I've heard from everyone there, Jacy Sheldon is the nicest person and the nicest player that most people have interacted with. And believe me, there's something building in Indiana right now that might make property of seem like a warm-up. If you want to see the next time she takes a straightforward issue and makes it viral, keep watching and subscribe so you don't miss the next behind-the-scenes fever storyline we break down.